it. All right, guys. So tonight we have Anne Dale Homestead with us, and I'm very thankful that she came on here tonight, and we're gonna have some fun. So,
Yeah,
Anne Dale, kind of introduce yourself to the people that might not know you and know what you do.
absolutely. Thank you so much for having me up here. What a fun
Yes, ma'am.
time. Because you have the reputation of being the big guy, the giant veggie, those great big pumpkins and watermelons. But I am Anne from Anne Dale Homestead. And what we do here, my husband and I really have only been gardening about 4 years. And I mean, he grew up farming.
Right.
He was raised all around farmers. He's pulled cantaloupes and watermelons and drove them to the market, and he's done it all as far as growing. His daddy always had a garden. My granddaddy always had a garden,
Right.
but for 40 years of marriage, we didn't have one together.
Oh
And
wow.
so now we have a garden, and it has grown at least doubled in size each year. And it started right around the time where, we were a little concerned about the grocery stores,
Right.
and we wanted to be able to make sure that we could still eat, you
Yep.
know.
Yep.
And so we began to grow a little garden, and it's gotten bigger and better. And I've learned how to make tinctures and how to make all sorts of concoctions and dry herbs and have my own herbs. Hey, GT. And also, we just the last few months got our first chickens.
Oh
So
wow.
I'm so tickled. We live in a neighborhood. I mean, I'm in a cul-de-sac just about,
Right.
but we can have, we can have four, but we
Right.
kind of have eight.
So you got a HOA then?
We do. Hmm.
Okay. Okay. And,
Yeah,
and that's a great thing about having you on here. You got you
good.
got, you got a HOA. You
Yep,
can show people that that's not stopping you from being a
absolutely.
homesteader.
That's right. That's exact. We have purchased the lots on either side of our home, so we have about an acre. It's just about
Okay.
200 feet short of an acre. But we're able to have a garden. We're able to have chickens. We have a creek in the backyard that leads out to the Albemarle Sound. So we have fishing that we're able to do right in the backyard.
That's nice.
So we're trying to do as much self sufficiency and preparedness. People ask me, I do some be ready videos as far as being ready. And one of the main questions that I get asked the most often is, be ready for what? It's like
Yeah.
a storm, anything. You just need to be ready in case they close the doors of the grocery store or
Right.
something.
Exactly. Or in case your wife's over here cutting the heads off chickens. No, I'm just
That's, yeah, I don't hear them
wow.
squawking, but I do hear the cutting.
Yeah.
Almost done.
She's over there. Just in case anybody wants to know what that sound is, we're not butchering chickens right now. She's over butchering kohlrabi and being really loud about it. So,
But honestly, Ryan, the main focus of my channel is to share a little wisdom with age. I'm 63, I'll be 64 soon. And gardening and homesteading correlates with life and life's values, and being able to focus in the right direction, have the Lord be first and foremost,
absolutely, absolutely.
and to be able to know that things can get crazy and we can still be just fine.
That's right. That's right. And that kind of goes back to be ready,
Yes.
right?
Hmm.
I mean, yeah, okay, we can be ready and prepared in the kitchen, and we can have our cupboards stocked up, but we also need to be ready here, right?
Absolutely.
And so I love that. I love that because there's not very many people that are willing to do that in today's society. They're not willing to talk openly about their faith and things like that.
Yeah, it's
And
kind
I
of a
love that.
taboo subject.
Right.
But every time I stray away a little bit and start getting too caught up in what YouTube wants you to do, that old knocking comes, hey, 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 wait a minute. I'm the reason you're here now. Don't forget about me.
That's right. That's right. I'll have to just tell this real quick. In 2020, I had probably the best garden that I had ever had. And I've been growing since 2008.
Oh,
and
wow.
I hadn't started growing giants yet. Well, no, I take that back. I played with some seeds, some giant seeds I got off of Amazon that didn't do very well in 2020, but I hadn't actually got my hands in real giants. And, by the time the end of the season come around, I had been making Facebook update videos, pretty often and stuff. And God just kind of impressed upon my heart, you need to start a YouTube channel. And I'm like, hey, yeah, you're funny,
Yeah, that's right.
We'll do Facebook all day long, but we ain't starting no YouTube channel,
Right.
And it just kept on. It was kind of like a burden, that just a continuous knock,
yes.
And I was like, all right, God, you tell me what to do, what to name it, how to go about it and everything, and I'll do it.
That's right.
And in 2021, by that time, I had bought the computer to do editing on, bought the camera, bought all the stuff I needed, and just needed a name, and finally got a name for it. And I was just like,
beautiful name.
I guess there's what we got then.
There you
go. And here I thought, well, you know what, God did it, and so it's going to just take off like that.
Yeah, me too.
But it was like November, and I only had like 60 subs, right? And I've been doing it since March, and I'm like, well, I thought God wanted that to happen,
Maybe it was me.
Right. But then all of a sudden, it just shot off, and I met the Blands, and they were awesome, and after that, it just continued to snowball, and I really don't work to get subs. I don't really do much. I just put videos up and let it fall where it may, and God
let it go.
That's right. And he's really done a work with it, and I'm thankful for it. And like you, I get caught up sometimes, and then I have to remember, oh yeah, yep, that's why I'm here. I'm not here because of me or anything I do.
Right. Yeah, yep. I'm not. But I do have a little Tuesday that I do each Tuesday at 11 o'clock. I do a live. And it's where you get to choose your attitude of the day.
Okay.
Because one of my favorite Bible verses now that is coming out is that walked out of the fire not even smelling like smoke.
Right.
So that's kind of, it's all in your attitude.
Right. It is.
Where your focus is.
That's right.
And so,
that's right.
Some positivity was right.
Absolutely. And we need that. People need that positivity, and it doesn't matter, whether it comes from, to us as Christians, it matters that it comes from the Bible and stuff. But I think as a whole, people are looking for positivity. So whether it comes from, a Bible verse, or whether it comes from your attitude, right? Then both of those things kind of go hand in hand, right? Because we're showing who we are in Christ to others. So I love that. I absolutely love that. That is awesome. So you mentioned something that I like a lot is tinctures. Okay.
Tinctures,
so you like to make those. Now, what all have you made, and what have you made it for?
Well, I've made a goldenrod tincture.
Okay.
Which is what's hilarious is when you see Worth, or my husband's name is Worth, going in the liquor store and buying gallons of vodka. That is funny.
Right.
And I mean, in my younger days, I did that a little bit, but
so did I.
Now in my adult life, I was shocked how much the price went up on those bad boys. But goldenrod tincture helps with urinary issues. It helps with inflammation. It helps with arthritis, those types of things. And what I had decided was, oh my goodness, if everything goes south,
right,
and I have arthritis. My husband has arthritis. I take medication for it. He does not. But if we needed some medication, God put everything here on the earth. I better learn how to use it.
That's right. That's right.
And so, with goldenrod tincture, it does help with arthritis and inflammation. He has had bad knees most of his life, and he takes, you just take a couple of drops in the morning of the goldenrod tincture, and he stirs it in his coffee, the last cup of coffee that he's going to have. And then he has had a wonderful relief with his knees. And so that's really good. I didn't get that much relief from it.
Right.
So I don't know. It's different for different people.
It
And
is.
then I made a lemon balm tincture as well, because that can go in your tea, or you can cook with that. That is something that can relax you and ease stress, those types of things. And
Right.
we've dried all sorts of herbs, and mainly for various teas, Jamaican sorrel, and um, my whole cabinet now is full of dried parsley and onion greens and garlic and all these kinds of things. It tastes so much better coming
Oh
from
yeah.
the garden than from the grocery store.
That's
So,
right. There's a video that is out. It's been out for a while, and they're at a homestead convention, and they put tomatoes out.
certainly.
Oh goodness, I've been up all daggone way too early this morning.
Oh, goodness.
uh, but
Food is
we
medicine, GT. That's right.
what is it?
I'm sorry. GT said food as medicine, and that's right. Food is
That
medicine.
is right. Absolutely. But they had these tomatoes, and they took tomatoes from the garden and took tomatoes from a store, and they put them out. And I don't remember how many people. I think there was like 10 on the video that they sat there and they tried, and all 10 of them could tell the tomato from the garden versus the tomato from the store.
Absolutely.
And that is the same with anything.
Yes.
I mean,
Tomatoes and cucumbers too.
absolutely, yeah. Tomatoes and cucumbers are one of the biggest ones that you can tell. But
Yes.
I mean, you can tell the garlic from your homegrown garlic. There's a huge difference in that.
There is.
There's so many different, and that begs the question: why does it taste different? What is going on here? If I'm using dirt and I'm using fertilizer, you're using dirt and you're using fertilizer. Why does yours taste so much different than mine?
Yeah, yeah, it does. And I never really thought about it that much when we walk in the grocery store and we see all these perfect, beautiful vegetables. I really didn't until I started getting into YouTube and gardening channels and the homesteading and the gardening communities and things. And they're going, real food comes deformed and dirty. And it's
Yes, it does.
If you go and see a sea of perfect food, something is wrong. There's a problem.
One of the biggest problems a lot of the people here have with me is I'll put a tomato out there that's cat-faced. Okay. Yeah. I mean, and I'm going to tell you, that tomato tastes awesome.
Yeah.
There ain't nothing. It might look perfect and round,
right.
But I'm going to tell you, it's a big old tomato and it tastes really good. Yeah. And they'll pick that up and look at it. What's wrong with that?
Right.
Well, that's called a mega blossom.
Yeah.
And what that is it's 2 to 3, sometimes even 12 tomatoes fused together to make one big old tomato. So you're getting one big tomato for the price of one of the regular ones, right? And they'll just set it back down and pick up one of the small ones.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't understand that. I just don't, but we've been conditioned by that thought process that it has to look like this in the store. So if I buy it from the farmer's market, that's what it has to look like.
That's right.
They won't touch black tomatoes here. They won't touch, purple Cherokees. They won't touch those.
Gosh, they're so good.
Oh, I know. I grow great whites. White tomatoes, the great white.
I've never had one.
Why ain't that ripe yet?
Oh,
that's as ripe as it's going to get.
Yeah.
I have green tomatoes they're ripe and they're green, right?
The green
green zebras and some other ones, and they'll look at that. well, that tomato's still green, or am I supposed to fry that or what? No, it's ripe. It's ready to go. And you have to, you try to cut one open and try to give them a little bit. No, I don't want that. I know what a green tomato tastes like. No, you don't. You really, you just don't. But that's another thing that the commercial industry has kind of tainted our minds to think, because we're so used to going to the nursery and only buying the plants that are available at the nurseries, which are always the same thing. You might have your same heritage ones that are mortgage lifters and things of that nature.
That's right.
But there's no variety there. I grow, I don't remember. I know it's over 80 different varieties of tomatoes that I grow.
Wow.
Right. And the same, I think over 80 varieties of peppers that I grow. And so, but I'm so intrigued by all this different stuff, because in my mind, my whole life, I grew up banana peppers and bell peppers and jalapeno peppers. That was it. That was all the peppers there were.
Right.
And red tomatoes.
Yeah.
Right? And every once in a while, one that was like a Mr. Stripey or something. Right. But that was it. And then when I got to growing, I said, well, there's a whole plethora of variety out here, Well,
I got to tell you, it was tough for me to think that any tomato would taste good that was other than red.
Right.
Until I tasted it.
Right.
And then it was like, wow.
Where's this been all my life?
Yes.
Yeah. And I don't understand why people are so dogmatic, though, about that.
Yeah.
They're very dogmatic, and kind of one track mind. I got some neighbors out here. They're always, you let us know when them tomatoes come on, and it never fails. The red ones are always last. I'll have a slew of everything else before I'll ever have the red ones. Tomatoes are ready. They'll come up here. Where's the red ones? They're still back there waiting to ripen. Oh, well, we'll be back.
It's the people that don't grow, that aren't growing, that they've just grown up thinking that it's not going to taste right unless it's red.
Right. But it does kind of, because my dad, he's 70, he's in his 70s. So I know, he always grew just the red tomatoes and some that were like Mr. Stripey's and stuff. But, it does beg the question, if all these were old heirlooms, how come nobody knows about it?
Right. Where were they?
Right. Where were all these old heirlooms at?
I don't know. And I wouldn't know about them if it wasn't for our community.
Right. I
just wouldn't. I would think it would be, beef steak tomatoes.
Yep.
And Better Boy or something, or Romas.
Right.
And that's about it. Because
Right.
that's all I ever knew.
Yep. And it's so much fun, though, to really dive into and get to see everything. That's what makes gardening fun. It's trying new things all the time.
Yeah.
And never just saying, okay, this is all I'm going to grow and that's all I want to grow. I used to hate root crops, right? I didn't want nothing to do with any of that. Past 2 years I've been growing and I'm like, hey, I need more room for more root crops.
Yeah.
Because these things are fantastic.
I just got to get my root crop game up. Our game is lacking here in the root crops.
I did need to ask you, when are you growing your root crops? When are you trying to grow them?
Well, usually the beets and carrots are either early spring or in the fall. It's not during the summer.
Right.
Because it is hot.
Very hot.
Northeastern North Carolina. And from what I understand, they don't care for really hot weather.
No, they don't.
I'm learning in the garlic, that thing takes about 1.5 years, it seems like, that you put them in September and pull them out in June or July, something like that.
Right.
And then our onions, just about the same. And so it's that time of year. But I've tried all kinds of different soils and different things to try to get the carrots. Like you said, if you have, we were talking earlier, but with the nitrogen, I overdid it because the tops of those carrots were about 6 feet tall.
Oh my goodness!
A little bit of carrot in the ground, with nothing. So maybe try. If I lived in North Carolina, I think I would
how cold does it get there in the wintertime where you're at?
It rarely gets, if we get, we certainly don't get to in the teens, but maybe a day or two
Okay.
during the winter.
Okay.
It's the 20s. It's it if we get snow, it is like 2 or 3 flakes. It's nothing.
Okay.
Occasionally we have had some ice storms or a snowstorm, but that's very rare. That's freak. That's
Okay.
a freak occurrence. So
So what does your Septembers look like? Your August, September, your end of August, mid to end August, beginning of September. What does those look like?
August is hot,
Okay.
but by Labor Day, the pools are closing because it's a little too chilly to get in the
Okay.
pool.
All right.
It's we have nice falls. We really
Okay.
do. It's 60s, 50s, October, even in November. Sometimes November and December are shorts and short sleeve weather. It's not, but I was worried about I have an apple tree, a couple of apple trees out there. Hey Dee, how you doing, honey? Um, I have a couple of apple trees out there, and one of them needs some cold time.
Okay.
And I was concerned that we weren't going to get cold enough. And then this spring, had these freak freezes after it got all my blooms were up there. And the
Yep.
freeze took them all out. So I thought, okay.
I had the same issue here, but I would think maybe trying to direct seed end of August.
Okay.
And I would just see, just do a test run of it. Don't plant a whole bunch, but maybe just do a test run and try them out end of August, planting them out, and then see if you can't harvest them by, December, January timeframe.
Okay.
Okay. And if that don't work, try another test run in February. Plant about mid to late February, and see if you can't get them harvested before June.
Okay.
So I think that might work.
All right. I do have a couple of really large, hey, Dee. And Rebecca. Hello, Rebecca. Good to see you. I'm sorry to just
No, you're fine. You're fine. You say hello to everybody.
These are all our friends. But I do have a couple of like 50-gallon grow bags that I've tried to put really soft soil in, because our soil has clay in it as well. And it's hard and it gets baked in the sun. So it turns into cement. And I thought, well, that's the problem, is because some of the soil's just too hard. So I tried it in grow bags. And so I'm going to try that again. Where I have a problem with beets and radishes and things like that is thinning them.
So I'll tell you a little secret that I do. When it comes to radishes, beets,
carrots.
No, not carrots. Radish, beets, rutabaga. Okay. I thin them out as they grow. So let's say I go out there and I say, hey, I want some radishes tonight for my salad. I'll pick the bigger ones and I'll let the littler ones stay in there. Right.
Okay.
And then they'll end up within the next week, sometimes two, they'll end up getting as big as the first ones that I picked. I just thin those that way. Carrots, however, I'll plant them in there thick and I'll let them grow. Because here's what I found with carrots. If you let them grow, they might bunch up, right? And you might have one or two little spindly ones here and there, but the majority of them that want to grow are going to grow, and they'll just crowd them out. They'll crowd those little ones out. Sometimes they'll even fuse together.
Yeah.
But that's what I do with carrots. I don't fool with them, because beets and radishes grow above ground with a very long taproot.
Yeah.
But you really don't disturb them much when you pull and thin them out. But when you thin the carrot out, where they're just a straight big taproot and they don't grow above ground much, when you try to thin them out, you end up doing more harm than good.
Oh, because
you're ripping out the roots and stuff of the other ones around them. So I found to leave them alone and just let them sort them out, but beets, radishes, and rutabagas you can thin out your own self. So.
But I mean, okay, so I've been told, and you can help me debunk this. I have been told that once, because you plant your beets, and there's those little bitty rocky seeds that like 4 bulbs grow from. It seems like, and but when they're too thick, then the beets won't bulb. You
The
know what I'm
beets,
saying?
well, I know
Is it just me? Don't tell me it's just me, because
you said beets, right?
yes,
Okay.
because beets, I'm not having. They don't have room. There's too many of them.
So I'm getting ready to, well, I didn't video it today. Doggone it.
Well, you
I,
need
sh-
the
I,
video
sh-
so
I,
that
sh-
I can watch you
I should
and learn
have.
how to do it.
I should have.
You got to
I
do it
went out there
again.
today, and I ain't kidding you. I picked a bushel of these, and they were just right on top of each other.
Really?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing: beets generally sprout 2 beets off of 1 seed.
Yes.
All right. So I just let them grow, and I space them out sometimes. Like I did space them out today when I replanted them. The first time I planted them this spring, I just laid them in there thick. And then
Okay.
I just went through and picked them here and there as I wanted beets and stuff. But
Thank you.
where they I don't really ever have an issue with them sprouting though. And that's what you're saying. You're having an issue with them sprouting when
No,
they're
they sprout, and I have the leaves and stuff,
right.
but they don't grow underneath. I mean, they're just like little marbles. There
But
is
oh, okay. Well, that I think that's more of a phosphorus issue.
not. Okay.
I really think if you up the phosphorus and potassium, you'll see a much greater harvest because
Okay, good.
they
'Cause, I mean, I have great greens. I eat the beet greens,
right. We do too.
but the actual beets themselves, which I love, I don't have anything but little marbles.
It,
So,
I've always found that. Give me that turnip.
oh gosh, I want to see this turnip. How do you know when they're ready to pick? Dee says, "Oh, look at that."
And that thing's been sitting on the counter for a week, so it's done lost some weight.
Oh
You know?
my gracious.
Yeah, but
Yeah, that's a turnip.
right. Well, I got one out there that's 3 times that size.
Oh my
I'm
God.
trying to baby it along and get a state record out of it. But, what I noticed is as I was having my first year in 2020, when I first grew my first thing of root crops, I had very, very poor turnout. Had a lot of top, went out there and started pulling and about that big around and and I'm like, now what did I do wrong?
Yeah.
And so I started researching this stuff, and what I found is if you're getting a lot of top, there's way too much nitrogen in the soil, and excuse me,
Yeah, I get that.
you want the potassium and the phosphorus in there. Phosphorus, again, like I was telling you before we started, you got to watch phosphorus because if you get too much in there, it's kind of hard to get it back out. But if you're growing root crop, they need that. And that is
Right.
how you get phosphorus out of soil is by growing the root crop.
Okay.
So, I mean, you should be fine, putting in a higher dose of potassium or phosphorus and potassium in there. And I really think if you did that, you would see them to grow. And what I do is I spoon feed my stuff. So I'll go out there and I might give them a drench of the fertilizer. At say Monday, and then by Wednesday I will I'll foliar feed them, and
Okay.
spray them with the foliar on their leaves. Plants do really good about uptaking nutrients through the underside of the leaf. That is where the stomatas are, and the stomatas is how the plant breathes and how it uptakes nutrients through the leaf. Think of the leaf as being an IV for
Right.
me or you,
Okay.
right? And so it's immediate uptake, where in the soil, things have to occur to break those nutrients down. Things have to react in positive, negative charges for the roots to be able to uptake that nutrient, right? The leaves don't have to go through that process.
So what is it that you're spraying on your leaves?
So I spray them with a whole host of different things. I mean, I hit them. I hit them with you know.
I gotta find your secret there.
I give them. It's no secret. I give. I shoot them with Cal Mag. Microgenics. That's another thing that root crops need is micro nutrients, not just your NPK, which is your macro, but they need those micros. And root crops love boron. Okay, so you need to feed them boron. They love that. But I'll give them Cal Mag, boron, fish emulsion, MKP, which is 034 or hang on a minute, I'll just look it up. What MKP is. I don't want to
miss. Taking notes. Okay.
Yeah.
Phosphorus.
But let's see here. MKP on Previgenics.
Because I mean, I'm sitting here going, and we could have been speaking German, and I would have gone,
That's funny.
I don't want to appear dumb, but I don't know any of that stuff.
No. You're not dumb.
I don't care. There is no. My mother was an educator. She was a teacher, and she taught me from the time I could crawl to say there is not a dumb question.
That's right.
And
That's
I am the one in a group setting that is raising my hand and asking questions every time.
That's the way you learn. So MKP on Previgenics is 52% phosphorus, 34% potassium, and I use that a lot on my root crops. In fact, I've got giant rutabagas out there right now that are over 30 inches round.
That is crazy.
So yeah.
Now I would be thinking that would be crazy.
I use a lot of that stuff, and I like I say, I foliar feed it and I drench it. I'll drench it once a week and foliar feed twice a week.
Wow. See, we don't fertilize more than once a week, or sometimes about a week and a half.
I fertilize every day something.
Do you?
Yeah, and when the pumpkins get growing, I'll fertilize them every day. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but see, I'm not putting a bunch. Let's say something says give 2 tablespoons per gallon of water, right? Mm-hmm. Well, I'll give them half of it. So I'll give them a tablespoon per gallon of water every day instead of it's called what you call spoon feeding is what we call it. We're just spoon feeding them. We're giving them a little bit here. Here's the thing. You give them that great big rush of stuff at the beginning of the week, right? Uh-huh. And they want it. Let's use Miracle Grow, for example. Mm-hmm. Miracle Grow says, give them, 2 tablespoons of our stuff per gallon of water every 2 weeks, right?
Yes.
So that plant, you've put that on there, that plant soaks all that up. And 2 weeks later, you're giving it to it because you're like, wow, that plant looks like it's hungry.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it is hungry. It was hungry last week.
Right.
It was hungry at the end of the week after you fertilized the first time. It was still hungry. So it's just plants are a lot like us. We have to eat every day. We're consuming something every day. And so what I do is I say, okay, this plant needs so-and-so today, whether it's phosphorus, potassium, whatever. Tomorrow I'll give it boron. The next day I'll give it this. The next day I'll give it that. And what that does is it's getting whatever it needs when it needs it. It's there, readily available when it needs it, right?
Okay.
So it's not waiting for me to come around and fertilize it again and wait for that micronutrient or that macronutrient. It's getting it all week long in little doses, and it has it when it's ready. It says, hey, I'm hungry. I'm ready to eat. Oh, food's already here.
Okay.
That's essentially what it's doing.
Well, I did learn from Leon here on YouTube, actually, gardening with Leon with
Yeah,
the self
out in
wicking.
Oklahoma, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
with the self wicking tubs
yep,
and
yep,
things. And he said, now you need to water it, and every time you eat, you need to feed it because
yep.
you're eating, it needs to eat too.
That's right.
I'm
That's
like,
right.
did he really say that? Does he really mean that? But
Yep.
apparently he does. So
Yep, that is how I have learned to grow the best stuff that I've grown. It's just making sure that the plants have food to eat and not those long gaps in between. And like I say, you don't have to go out there and slam them, you
right,
know, you know,
give him a
just give
little
them a
drink.
little bit. Yeah, every so many days, give them a little bit, and you'll have to play with it. And what I always tell people is start at the lowest dose that you're comfortable with giving them. And you know what that is because you know what your soil is and everything,
Right.
right? So if it's a quarter tablespoon a gallon, then give that to them. If they handle that, give it to them for like a week, every other day. If they
Mhm.
handle that well, bump it up a little bit,
Mhm.
whatever you feel comfortable with. And continue to do that until you start to see either a change that is positive or negative,
Okay.
right? If you see a negative one, you know to back off to your last feeding, right? If
Okay.
you see a positive one, you can kind of hold it there. Now the plant will probably plateau at some point and need more, right? But until that plateau happens, stay at that dose,
Mhm,
And
mhm.
sometimes it's for the rest of the season,
But does
So
doesn't that, I mean, not that we go anywhere usually during garden season, and now that we have chickens and little babies, we don't go any one of us is home every day.
right.
But, doesn't that kinda tie you to the garden? Like, I'm out in my garden every day anyway, but it really ties you.
When my wife comes back in, I'll let you ask her when I leave.
Okay,
Yeah.
which is never. Yeah, because when you're talking about feeding them something different every single day, because they get used to that routine as well. If we
They
get
do.
used to eating breakfast every day, then
Yep.
the plants are going to want breakfast every day.
That's right.
And if you skip breakfast, they're going to be saying, "Hey, I'm
Yep.
hungry over here. You didn't feed my breakfast this
That's
morning."
right. See, those rutabagas slowed down. They were growing at an unprecedented rate,
Oh my
and
God!
I started getting a little scared. I'm not lying to you. Last year, I could take my hand and fit around the base of those rutabagas, and they grew into August. And and the biggest one was like 19 pound 11 ounces. Ended up being the state record. But on
Oh,
this day,
wait, 19 pounds, 11-ounce rutabaga.
yep, yeah,
Oh my
that
gracious.
was last year.
Oh, good grief.
Yeah. Well, these are growing at a world record pace. The ones that are out there right now.
Oh my gosh.
The people that I know, uh, I think the world record is like 85 pounds or something like that. Um, and so I was talking to the guys that had been around that or knew the guy that grew it or had grown 60 and 70 pounders themselves. And they said, if that continues to grow like that, it's going to be a world record. Well, it was growing so fast that how the leaf stem comes out of the rutabaga.
Right.
It was growing so fast in girth, it was splitting that stem,
Oh,
and I would have so piece of stem would be here, piece of stem would be here, and it'd be like a half inch to an inch in between them in one night.
oh my gosh.
Yeah, and they were splitting really bad, and I'm like,
Uh-oh.
I want to keep growing like this, but
Right. Yeah.
I
That's
don't want to rot you,
yeah. Right.
Yeah. So I backed off just a touch on
Okay.
on the feed, right? Because I was like, I'm getting great results, but I'm afraid I'm
It's
getting too
gonna
good
be
of results. Yeah.
yeah.
So I slowed them down just a bit. Well, I slowed them down just a touch too much. And they're not growing as fast as they were, right? I was getting 2 inches in 24 hours. Okay. Well, now I'm getting like an inch in 24 hours. And I'm like, no,
That's
we got to
still
get
a lot.
back. We got to go back to 2 inches, you know? So they've been like that for about a week and a half now, I think. They've been like that. And so tomorrow I'm gonna go out there hit them with some MKP,
Oh my
and
gosh.
let the fun begin,
Oh, I
baby.
would love to come and visit your crazy crop
You're
sometime.
welcome to anytime you want. Anytime you want to come up here and see it. Hey, they got a question. Anne Dale wants to know, when do I leave?
How often does he leave the garden, leave the house?
Uh, it's pretty rare.
I would imagine.
How
Well,
many
the way
times a
that
month?
he's talking about these things.
I don't know, maybe twice.
2 times a month.
Oh my gracious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't go nowhere. I'm right here all day, every day, hitting around and trying to get this stuff to grow.
Yes,
I think it's so amazing to watch this stuff just grow before your eyes. You know, it's one thing
well,
to
it is.
yeah, you know, it's one thing to watch something.
But you don't want to miss it at all.
Right.
Yes,
Exactly. I don't want to miss it. That's right. But you know, it's one thing to, you know, go out there every day and then at the end of the week, you know, oh, it did, you know, it grew, it, you know, it done this or whatever at the end of the week or 2 weeks or whatever, right? It's a whole nother level when you go out there and you're like, you wasn't like that last night.
Right.
I went to bed at 9 o'clock and you didn't look like that.
That's
You know?
funny. You know, my husband and I were just sitting on the back porch talking. We have a screened in back porch where you can look out and see the wild Canada geese come up in the yard and look at the creek and the fish jumping. And we were talking, it was raining. It was a nice shower because we didn't have to get out and water the garden tonight. And he said, this is the kind that is great. And he said, when he used to farm, he was planting peanuts, but it would be next to a cornfield. And when something like that would happen and would get dark, you could stand out there and hear the whole field growing.
That's cool.
I mean, it would just crack and grow, and you could hardly see it, but you could see the results in the morning, but you could hear the whole field squeaking and growing up taller, which I just think, that's a little creepy. But I mean, how cool is that to
It
be
is very cool.
that? It's just amazing.
It is. And you know, I always encourage people to try to get a time lapse camera.
Yes.
Because if you get a time lapse camera, I've got a Breno in there. And once, what happened?
We're cooking one.
Oh,
Uh-oh, she didn't cut herself.
no, they're cooking one of my quail eggs.
Well, we accidentally cracked it. So that was why.
They accidentally cracked one of my quail eggs.
So
Well, it ain't my quail, it's her quail.
Oh.
But they ain't never ate one before, so they're gonna try one out. But you know, the whenever the pumpkins get on, I'll put that Breno on those fruit and watch them pumpkin. And you know, people don't believe you, but they can grow 75 to 90 pounds in a day. Well, in a night. You know, you'll go to bed, it'll be a beach ball. You'll wake up the next morning and go out there at like 7 o'clock at night or in the morning, and it'll be, you know, the size of
my gosh.
yeah, like the size
I had no idea it would grow that quickly.
Yeah. I mean, 75 to 90 pounds, that's the max, right?
Yeah.
Typically, what you'll see, typical growers, 25 to 50 pounds a night, you know. But guys that are getting
crazy.
Guys that are getting 2,000 to 3,000 pound pumpkins, I mean, they're putting on 75 to 90 pounds a night. You know, I mean, it's just insane. So when you get this time lapse camera on there, you know, it really opens up people's minds to how big they get, because people see it and they see the time going and they're like, that was only 12 hours. Like, what in the world is that?
That sounds neat. I don't have one of those, but that would be fun.
It is a lot of fun.
You kind of
and even if you're not growing giants, it's fun to have because you get to see your tomatoes, right? Tomatoes is just like mini pumpkins. They will swell up like that.
It's so fun to see them. And we have determinate and indeterminate. So you can see the determinate are getting to a level, and the indeterminate are just like overnight. You get like 6 to 12 inches that it is all of a sudden gone up that pole. Or the cucumbers were halfway up the fence, and then you wake up the next morning and they're peeking over the top of it. So
I got some tomato seeds. Well, I'll have some tomato seeds that you would probably love to grow next year.
Okay.
I just got some off of the guy, and he holds the U.S. record for the height.
Oh,
excuse me. It's like 17 or 18-foot tomato plant or something like that.
okay.
But what's even cooler is it put on 1,044 tomatoes on one truss.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I've had some tomatoes that have gone 17 or 18 feet long, but I didn't get no 1,000. I didn't get 1,000 things, 1,000 tomatoes. I may have gotten a dozen,
Right.
because they
No.
spent most of the time in growing their length instead of putting
Yep.
out fruit.
Right. But no, it was 1,044 tomatoes.
That's
It
crazy.
on one truss. I mean, the truss is like 3 foot long, like 2.5, 3 foot wide at the widest part, and it just comes. I mean, it looks like a big old thing of grapes.
Yeah. Oh my
Insane.
God.
Yeah, insane.
That
So
would be fun.
you
That
would
would
love
be a
to grow
lot.
that.
I would
Yeah,
love to grow that. I
that
would
would be.
just, I would love to grow that because I did. We had a pink brandywine tomato that I would watch grow. I mean, it's nothing compared to your stuff, but for our little garden, and it would get bigger and bigger and bigger, and it was hanging down. And I made a little trestle for, made a hammock. I
Right.
got some ace bandage and tied it
Yep.
up on both sides so it wouldn't fall off the vine. And
We do that. We do that with ours. You have to. I mean, you want to make sure that it, I mean,
I wanted it to ripen on the vine.
Yep.
And
So
that was fun. That was a fun one to grow.
it is. I love doing that. I mean, I've made hammocks for watermelon. I've made hammocks for cantaloupes. I've made hammocks for tomatoes, cucumbers. I mean, when people drive by my house, they probably think this guy is a quack because
Yes.
I got a 6-foot tall fence all the way around it, and it's usually covered in fruits and vegetables all the way around. I mean, it's always something growing on it, something hanging on it.
Yeah.
I've had people come. What is that thing? Well, that's a long gourd. What is a long gourd? It's as tall as your fence post. Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, but they just it blows their mind, that there's something like that growing around here.
It's gotta be fun though.
Oh, it's a ton of fun, and I think you'd enjoy growing some of those giant things.
I would.
Yeah.
I mean, just to have a good time.
It's a ton of fun. So what all are you growing this year in your garden?
In our spring summer, it's mostly a summer garden right now, late spring, because we didn't really. Worth is old school and doesn't think you're supposed to plant before Mother's Day. But we have green beans, 2 kinds of green beans, some okra, a lot of tomatoes, cucumbers, peppers, all kinds of peppers, cayenne pepper, jalapeno pepper, bell pepper. And we didn't grow any like super, super hot peppers this year. We have garlic and onions and lettuce, and of course the lettuce is gone, and the Swiss chard, banana trees. Got a couple of banana trees out there.
We love banana trees.
And then all my herbs. I've got dill and basil and lemon balm and all kinds of herbs.
So how do you dry all your different herbs?
Well, there's a couple of ways that you can dry them. We happen to have a dehydrator. It's old. It's from 1970s. It was my aunt's, and she gave it to me. It's just a little round, like 3 or 4 tray, but it still works. So what the heck? But yes, we dehydrate them in a little dehydrator, or you can put them in the oven, but you have to be real funny about that.
Right.
They will burn up in a crisp if you're not real careful.
Right.
And then, oh, good, Dee. I'm glad. Thank you. I hope you do. I hope you do come and join Heavenly Homestead. And then let's see, with the herbs and things. What's good is once they're dry, then I have these I bought a little bitty food processor from the thrift store for $5 that you can
Right.
chop them all up in and keep them forever. Everybody's getting these freeze dryers now.
Oh, I know. It's
I really,
crazy.
really want one.
I don't want to pay for one though.
I don't either.
But
I
but
keep
hey,
trying to win them.
but you know what? Let's just make this publicly known. If Harvest Freeze Right is listening, me and Ann Dale, we
We'll
will
be first
put it
in
to the
line.
test. We
Yes,
sure
we
will.
We will put it to work.
You got that right. We sure will. I tell
Yeah.
you now. I can't justify that price.
Yeah.
I just can't. I would love to have one, but my goodness,
I
that's
know.
just
$5,000.
yeah. I
That's
mean,
great.
that's just that's way more than what I could.
I
Lord, I
mean,
could take a loan out for it.
you got to think. Yeah, we would too. But you think about, okay, how much food would I have to preserve to make $5,000 worth of food? It would be a lot, really.
I'm doing a thing right now because somebody questioned the raised bed stuff, and I always try to make sure I'm very upfront and honest with people. Hey, look, I didn't pay for these raised beds. Epic Garden sent them to me.
Mm-hmm.
Had it not been for Epic Gardening, I wouldn't have been able to afford it, all of them. I would have had to buy one
Right.
at a time, right?
Right.
And so I'm very upfront with that. But people were like, well, you can't grow enough to justify spending $100 and some to $300 and some on that. And I'm like, beg to differ on that, because, and so what I did is I've been weighing everything that comes out of them raised beds.
Okay.
And so as they come out, I'll weigh them. I'll keep a log. And then what we'll do is we'll price check it.
Okay.
What could you have found at the farmer's market? What could you have found at the grocery store for? How much money, your initial investment. Now, this is going to last me 20 years or longer,
Right.
So
yeah.
I'm going to have that rate of return might not be the first year, but I guarantee I'm getting over half of it.
Okay. Wow, that's a lot of work.
Yeah. Oh, it's a lot of work. But here's the other thing too. So my giants that I grow in them raised beds, the way that I'll justify that is when I win money from them.
Right.
And I can say, okay, so I grew a giant in this. I won 200, 300, 1,000, whatever it is.
Yeah.
That paid for 3 of these. Right.
So now I've got them free. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. So you really, I mean, but when it comes to that freeze right dryer, I have flipped that thing every which way but loose in my mind to try to justify that. Even the small one that's like 2,000 or 3,000, right?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, man, I mean, there's just no way.
What I've seen that people do make money off of their freeze dryer,
right?
Because they do take their products to the farmers market. They do take their products out. They do sell them on their channels, even in their stores and things. And so they do, they're recouping some. And as much work as you want to put in it is how much you can get back out of it, as far as what kind of money,
Right.
Because a lot of people do candy. They'll sell candy. And
right. Ice cream, cakes and stuff.
Mm-hmm, all that kind of stuff. And so that's something to put in there towards it. But I really do want one, because we do a whole lot of canning. And I see you've got some canners behind you. So.
Oh, yeah. We do. We try to.
Well, I have a question for you.
Okay.
On all these giants that you grow, are they, I mean, it's fun, but are any of them still edible?
So, most people are going to say, all right, this is kind of a hard question.
Is that a bad question to ask?
No. It's a good question to ask, because I get asked that a lot.
Oh, okay.
They are edible. I would caution people as to if you wanted to eat one of them, where you got it from if you did eat it.
Right.
Reason being is we are so, like, for instance, right now I am ate up with cucumber beetles. Cucumber beetles carry several different diseases. They just bite the plant, and I've got a plant out there right now. It's dead. It's
Okay.
I put in this plant is what, April, May, June. It's almost 4 months old. It's gone. It's gone. And so when you put that much work into a plant, and a cucumber beetle crawls up there, bites it, kills it with either a bacterial wilt or yellow vine disease, which if you get yellow vine disease and it gets in your soil, well, now you have tainted soil that you aren't going to be able to grow in for a long time, right?
Oh, no.
Right. And so what most of us do, including myself, when it comes to my giants, I will never grow a crop of anything in where I grow my giant pumpkins at. Giant pumpkins are the only thing I do this with. I don't do it with any of the other ones. Not giant butternuts, because I don't have a problem with giant butternut. I don't have a problem with giant field pumpkins or giant long gourds or any of that stuff. Giant pumpkins only. Well, giant squash, giant green squash, which is nothing but a 1,000-pound green squash, right? It might as well be a pumpkin.
Yeah.
But those two plants, for some reason, are highly attracted to the cucumber beetles and squash vine borers. And so what we do is we will hit them with imidacloprid. Imidacloprid is a very, very, very strong pest. It's systemic, meaning it gets in the plant, they bite it, they die instantly.
Okay.
Right.
All right. So that's something that you're not putting your food in.
No.
But you're going to put it in there for the giants.
Right.
And you're not planning on eating them.
Right. Exactly. Now, there are people who will tell you that, if you did that, June, July, August, when they were bad, right? Because they really aren't bad in July. It's usually, August. They're usually bad in June and July. August, they kind of slack off, and by September, you don't see them anymore.
Okay.
And so what some of them will say is, well, as long as you didn't put any down September, or mid-August through September, you're fine.
Oh, then you could still eat it.
Right. I'm not one that's going to trust that. You know what I mean? I use Roundup around my fence, but I don't eat nothing that comes off of that fence.
Right.
You know what I mean? Right. Like there's portions of the fence where I will use Roundup at, and I don't eat nothing that comes off there. I grow like giant long beans, right? Like over there or something, right? I won't, or sunflowers or something like that. I won't eat anything that comes off of where that is. And I mean, I don't think Roundup's going to kill you because, if you grew something in the ground, because you already, but I'm just that.
You're that funny about it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm curious. And GT's got a question too. He wants to know if, so the giants aren't fibrous or woody.
No. So
think they would
go and look at my past videos from 1,016-pound pumpkin, or even the one that was heavier than that, but I couldn't get a weight on it because it was a true weight because of the circumstances that it befell it. But anyways, they're not bad at all. I mean, I feed them to the goats.
Okay.
I'll feed them to the pigs, but I'm not eating the goats and I'm not eating the pigs. You know what I mean? So,
well, the only thing that I have seen, I've never seen anybody eat one except for Arms Family Homestead was with Grow Jack Outdoors.
Yep.
Because he grows the giant pumpkins or watermelons or whatever. And this was one that had already gone through its competition, and they stuck a knife in it to cut a watermelon, and it just went, I mean, and it was pretty gross inside.
Yeah. Well, see here. All right. So watermelons are funny. And here's why. a giant watermelon.
Fed his winter to the deer.
The giant yeah, I know. Yeah, he did. But giant watermelons, they will grow up to 110 days, but their ripe days are 80 to 85 on the vine.
Okay.
But they'll continue to grow past ripe. So what happens is you'll have this 100 to 110, sometimes 120 day old watermelon, right? And it's overripe. It's past its prime.
Yeah.
And then they'll try to eat it, right? And it ain't no good. But if, like, I took one to the North Carolina State Fair last year, it literally was about that big. And
you took one to the North Carolina State Fair?
Every year I go to North Carolina State Fair.
You do? Well,
yes,
you're
ma'am.
only about 3 hours from me if you come to North Carolina State Fair. I mean, if that.
I do. Every year I got to take one down there and stuff, and they treat me real good.
That's awesome.
I love it down there. But yeah, I took a watermelon last year. It wasn't but about that big around, right? Well, that long and about maybe that big. It weighed like 57 pounds or something. Oh, it was solid as a rock.
Yeah.
Well, the fair was like October 11th. That's when we weighed it in, was October 11th. I think the fair started like either the next day or the day after that. But anyhow, like before the fair was over, they had to pull my watermelon out because it started leaking.
Oh, right? No.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It was well past ripe. Oh yeah. So I didn't get any of the seeds out of that one.
Oh
but,
yeah.
And that would have been a good one too. But yeah, everybody was surprised because that thing was like 15% heavy.
Yeah.
Like we do a measurement, right? And so what it's called is the over the top measurement. So you measure pumpkins, watermelons the same way, but they have different scales to tell you how big they are. It gives you an estimated weight, right?
Okay.
So what you do is you measure around it, the like if you were looking from the top down, you measure around the fruit. Then you measure from blossom end to stem end. Then you measure from side to side, and that calculation, right, will give you those three numbers will give you an estimated weight. The estimated weight, then when you go to scale, let's say you're estimated to weigh 50 pounds and you come in at 55, right? So you'd be like what, 5% heavy, right? So it's the same thing with pumpkins or whatever. You have estimated weight by the OTT, and then whatever you weigh in at, you'll either be under, which you don't want to be under, right? Yeah. or you'll be over, which everybody wants to be heavy. It's called heavy to chart, right? And so it was like 15% heavy to chart because it was not supposed. Everybody was like, that little watermelon weighed that much. Well, yeah, that joker older than the hills, man. I mean, that thing is old, and nobody believed me till it rotted.
Oh gosh!
Yeah.
Oh gosh!
So, but yeah, the giants, I've never had a problem with them. We've ate the giant butternut. Didn't have any problem with that. We've ate giant cushaws and all that. It's really, it doesn't. The only thing that would turn me off is
like really yucky.
Right. Yeah. The only thing that would turn me off would be how somebody grew it though. Like did they spray harsh chemicals on that stuff or what? I don't know. I get really leery about that stuff because I don't want to put nothing in me that's going to.
Right. Yeah. And that's
10 years down the road. You got this problem and this problem. You're like, wonder what that was. Oh, I bet it was because of what I ate.
Yeah, you grew a third ear.
Right.
Second eye.
Yeah, right. So, but yeah, I mean, they're edible, and most people though won't eat them. What they do is they'll show them off. I sell them to Dollywood, places like that.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah. Always try to get the seeds back. Generally, I sell with the understanding that I get my seeds back.
Okay.
There's been people that have begged me for my pumpkins, and they would not give me a deal to where I got my seeds back. And I told them, taking the pumpkin back home, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
Your
so
are amazing.
Thank
Just
you. Thank you.
amazing.
I love them. They're a lot of fun to grow. But that seed, you kind of, you really look at that seed as if it's your kid almost, you
I
know,
gotcha.
because that seed, you crossed that seed, you pollinated, you hand pollinated that flower, and you had to go out there and say, okay, well, I want to take this pumpkin plant to this pumpkin plant. It's almost like breeding dogs, right?
Right.
You know, you say, okay, well, this dog's got this genetics, this dog's got this genetics, and I want to put them two genetics together because it's
Right.
going to make the best that I, you know, for what I'm envisioning, right?
Right.
So those seeds have your vision in it, right? What you're
Yes.
wanting, and
Well,
so
plus if you're going out there every single day and,
right,
looking after the mama, then you want the
right.
mama's babies.
Exactly. So you want to, like this year, every pumpkin that's growing here this year is my pumpkins. This is the first year that I've ever been able to grow all my stuff.
Oh, that
So
must be a
everything
really
out there
neat
belongs to me. Huh?
that must be a really neat feeling.
It is. It is. It's kind of a. It's kind of like, please be right.
Yeah, right.
Please be right. You know.
You are not alone though. That happens to every gardener every year because I'm sort of kind of known. I mean, my Anne Dale Homestead has tomatoes. Okay, so I'm sort of kind of known as I like to grow a lot of tomatoes, and I do
Right.
because I like to preserve all kinds of tomato products. I just enjoy that. Well, we enjoy eating it. The process
Right.
less than sometimes, but every year I'm thinking, what if my tomatoes don't grow? What if something what uh-oh.
Yep.
And so
Yep.
every year it's like was that just by chance or prayer or what that I had such a good year last year? What did it really did it have anything to do with me? So
Well, what kind of stuff do you make with it? Because, like, I mean, we make base. We make tomato base where we take a lot of our tomatoes. We even take our peppers and we make a base with it.
yeah.
And we use that for spaghetti or marinara or
Yeah.
whatever. But some things that I've been wanting to try was like tomato jam and jelly and stuff like
Oh,
that. You know,
cool. See, I haven't
yeah,
done that yet. I haven't. I mean, I'm really kind of new. Kind
right,
of new to all this,
right.
but and certainly new to canning and preserving and things like that. My aunt just taught me about 3 years ago how to can. I can everything stand still. But um, I make tomatoes, stewed tomatoes, tomato paste, tomato sauce, tomato juice, which I really enjoy tomato juice. And I save the tomato peels and make tomato powder,
Okay.
which is really cool. You just dehydrate the peels and chop it up, and you can really use that for flour, like for a thickener, and it makes your soups, gives your gravies, everything. So if somebody's on keto or something like that and they don't want flour in anything, you
Right.
can use that as a thickener, and it puts all kinds of
That's a really
wonderful
good idea.
wonderful flavors in there.
Yeah.
So everything in the tomato is used except for the stem,
Right.
you know.
That's awesome.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I like that because you're gonna have to remember that. You're gonna have a hard time. You thought it was bad last year. Now you got me saving tomato skins. You really gonna have it bad.
Well, look, I could tell her if you get in a bind and you can't can them right away, you just core those bad boys, stick them in a bag, and stick them in the freezer.
There you
Once
go.
you thaw those tomatoes out and pick them up, and the core's already cored out of them, you just pick it. The whole skin just comes right off. Once
Really?
it thaws out.
Oh,
Simple, easy, awesome.
yeah. So no having to put them in the
You don't
pot.
have to boil them. You don't have to blanch them or put them in hot water and then cold water and all that stuff. You just pull them out of the refrigerator, and when they're thawing, you just
Let me
plop
tell
them
you.
right off.
I'm gonna tell you this, and she might get a little upset. I have filled this kitchen table up with tomatoes, the counter up over there, and have buckets setting outside full. she's just like, I can't do any more with them. And it's like, I don't know what to tell you. You got a table full, a counter full, and buckets waiting. You better get to cracking. We got work to do, woman. And she's just like, sell them. Call somebody to come pick them up. I can't do anymore.
Well, my husband and I both can at the same time. He learned how to do it too. So he would be out in the shed, water bath canning, and I would be inside with 2 canners going, which is wonderful. But honestly, it has helped being able to, you do wash them and then pour them and stick them in a Ziploc bag and stick them in the freezer. And that's a whole lot easier because then you can pull them out by the gallon size bag of how many ever you want to do at the time.
Right.
So I don't know if you got a freezer big enough for all those tomatoes, but
it does get bad around here. I'm pulling in 70 plus pounds of peppers a week.
Oh my gracious.
Yeah. And I don't even want to know how many pounds of tomatoes I pull in here a week. Yeah, she's like, there's only so much stuff you can can peppers with. Listen, she will beg me, plant me a whole bunch of banana peppers. Okay, I'll plant 10 or 12 plants or I think I got 18 of them growing this year. Yeah, she wanted a big bunch of them. Well, we got a big bunch of them, so she better be ready for it when it comes.
Hey, Mama Kenny, I'm glad. You have a freezer just for tomatoes? Oh, that's good.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to get one of them. So, I mean, I mean, I fill it up around here, though.
Yeah, that would be overwhelming.
It does, and I feel bad for her, but I can't quit doing something to come and help her because I'm too busy out there. So what we did is I started getting the neighbors. I told them, I said, listen, you help her can, and what I'll do is I'll give you, you kick us back, a case or 2, whatever, depending on how much stuff I give them. You kick us back a case or 2. I'll provide the cases of jars and stuff. You just make it all, kick us back 1 or 2 cases, and you can have all that stuff and make yourself, 3 or 4.
Still, that's pretty generous.
Yeah. Because they're already making it and they're already wanting it. So I just barter with them that way.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's great.
Because I can't just leave it sit here. And I mean, she'll be in here all day. Well, you got to think though, in West Virginia, it just seems like every year I'll be telling her about 2 to 3 weeks beforehand, you better start. I'm telling you, when it all hits, it's all going to hit. You're going to have green beans. You're going to have this, and this, and it's all just going to go boom.
Oh, God.
And every year it never fails. Poof. And it's like, I told you to start 2-3 weeks ago. Now we can't keep up.
My grandmama was the sweetest thing on 2 feet. But every summer when it was garden season, when Granddaddy would leave the house, don't you bring back anything from that garden. And then later on, I'm living in a hotel for 3 months out of the year. I am not staying here putting up all that garden. Oh, yeah, this is my doggy, Brownie.
Oh, is it what is? Is that a?
It's a Dachshund. He's a long-haired wiener dog.
Yeah.
He's a long-haired miniature Dachshund. He's my shadow. But
I got one I'll send down there to you. He loves the garden. Absolutely. Oh, he just loves it. He loves to get in there and roll around and eat it and dig it and tear it all to pieces. Now listen, he really loves chickens. He'll go and get them chickens right by the butt. He'll pack them off and lay down and eat them.
Okay, you can definitely keep that one.
Yeah, we'll send him down here.
We're getting ready to dog sit for the grand dogs, which we've got to go soon. But next week is a holiday week, and my daughter and her husband and 2 kids are going on vacation. They have 3 dogs. So we're going to have the 3 dogs here. And those 3 dogs, although we do have a border collar on them so that there's just so much that they can go.
Right.
They do look at the chickens like chicken nuggets. And they seriously want a chicken nugget when they're here. And so I'm stressed every time they come.
You see, I got I bought a Catahoula in 2020, and I thought she was stubborn. And so we had a friend who had a relative who had a litter of them from Louisiana. And I said, man, I can get that male and have her a friend, and we can have some puppies on the ground. Because I thought they're very, very highly intelligent dogs, but I can get them to work. Not him, but I can get her to work. The chickens get out, she'll go put them back up.
Okay.
Now, I mean, I'm talking really put them back up. She will bathe them up and either put them back in, make them fly over the kennel or over the thing, or wait till I get over there and grab them and put them back up.
Oh my goodness.
She won't eat them or nothing. She's good with pigs and she's good with daggone goats. She'll put them all up. I mean, she gets right in there and gets after them. But she acts like she's supposed to. Catahoulas are not supposed to bite and hold. They're supposed to nip and let go. You know, and she does that well, right? Because I was going to take her to a competition because she does so well, and because you can get disqualified and points taken off if they bite and hold,
right?
And I thought, man, she's just so good, very intelligent. Love that dog. She don't want to be inside. She hates being inside. She will, if you have her inside, she'll make you go let her out 10 or 15 times a night.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, she wants to be outside. So we just said, okay, you want to be out there? You can be out there. She loves it out there. The only time we bring her in is when it's extremely cold outside.
Right.
Because they're from down south. They can't handle that.
Yeah.
And you will break her heart bringing her in. You know? But now we was going to make him an inside dog, you know, because we wanted something a little bit more protective in the house and stuff. And he was the best puppy. All he did was lay. And he just laid, and let's go to the bathroom. He'd jump up and follow you right to the door, and he'd go to the bathroom. Just the best puppy we'd ever had. Nothing like her, you know?
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden, I guess his testosterone hit.
Oh, gosh.
And he flipped the switch. Everything was dying and dead, digging up my raised beds. He tore up the entire yard 3 or 4 different times from one end to the next. I bet he's killed 30 chickens, up potted plants, updone them. He killed 2 of my very expensive fig trees.
Oh, that's terrible.
Oh, yeah. And I'm sitting there going, dude, you stay in the house. We leave for an hour, come back, and you have ruined. Because what we would do, we put him up with her, right? Oh, he didn't want to be in there playing with her no more. He wanted to get out and eat stuff and tear everything up.
Well, so he get out and he got out of the pen by himself?
Yeah. Oh, he's super smart. Oh, he is a smart dog. But
that's when you want to kill him.
Yeah. Thank you. I was that. If it wasn't for her going, no, you can't do that. You can't. He was heading for the graveyard because I was fed up with him.
You tear up my garden, start eating my fig trees, tear up all my plants in my yard, eat my chickens or kill my chickens and everything else, then
he's so high strung. He's just so high strung. He's not like her. She was kind of high strung as a puppy, and then she mellowed out. He was reversed, mellow as a puppy, and the older he got, the more high strung he got. So I called the guy that I got him off of. I said, hey, we got a problem. This dog is killing everything in the yard.
Right.
And he's not trainable right now. Because anytime I have to put the shock collar on him to train him, because he won't listen without a buzzer or I call it a shock collar. It's a stimulator.
Yeah. It buzzes. Yeah.
Right. Right. But as soon as you put that on him, he tucks his tail between his legs and goes and gets in his doghouse and won't come out no more. You know, he says, I ain't doing this. You're going to buzz me or shock me. I don't want no part of this.
No.
Oh, yeah, he's stubborn. So the guy told me, he said, well, try to run him on your side-by-side or put him on a treadmill. And I said, okay, well, there are a couple problems with that. If I put him on the side-by-side and run him on a side-by-side like you do your dogs, somebody here will call the people on me. I said, because there's a bunch of people around here that they would think that was animal cruelty.
Right.
I was like, even though that dog is massive and you ain't walking that dog, you know, And I said, and then the treadmill thing, well, there's a bunch of people around here that fight pit bulls. And if I put him on that treadmill and run him on a treadmill and they see me running him, they're going to look at him and think it's a pit bull. And yeah, I was like, so that ain't going to work either. So we got to figure something else out. So I've been 2 weeks trying to figure out what to do with this dog besides get rid of him. Because I don't really want to get rid of him.
How old is he?
He's 6 or 8 months old. When we got him, he was 12 months old. We got him in March, 12 weeks. He was 12 weeks old when we got him March 17th. We got him March 17th. He was 12 weeks old. So
March, April, May, June.
6 months. Yeah, I guess six months, right? Yeah. He's
well, that's the worst time of their lives. You'll love him later.
I love him. I love the dog.
But you'll be able to tolerate.
Right.
He'll be better.
His actions
he's a teenager.
He's a teenager. And well, you want to treat him like a teenager too. Bend him over your knees. I thought I told you.
Right.
But he's just a little bit stubborn. So I'm hoping. What I'm hoping is, by fall, he'll be ready. She'll be back in heat. Because when we bought him, she was in heat. So I'm hoping she'll be back in heat by that time. And then he'll get her pregnant. And while she's pregnant and can't go out with me in the fall, because she'll track deer for me, and I can take her and track people's deer in the state that might have shot one and lost it.
Wow!
Take her out and she'll find them for them. And if it's not dead, she'll bay it up and wait till somebody gets there to come finish it off. And that's what I wanted him for, so they can run in a pair.
Yeah.
So what I'm hoping is fall time comes, she'll get pregnant, she'll have to stay at home. Me and him go out, have daddy son time, whatever you want to call it, daddy pup time, right? And maybe be able to train him and get him on point and get some of that whatever he's got up his rear end out.
Yeah, maybe so. I mean, they do have those training camps that you can send your dogs to, but they're incredibly expensive.
Yeah, very, very high. And they're really. From what she must have just spoiled me or something, but she was very easy.
Yeah, probably came naturally.
Yeah. Well, 2 days after her mom and dad were both champions in Pennsylvania for boar baying is what they call it. And her dad was a tracking dog for deer. 2 days after I had her here at the house, I could put food on the ground in the kitchen here and tell her back. And she would back up. As long as I kept telling her back, she would keep going back. And she would just sit and then back and then sit and then back. And then when I would eat, she'd come and eat. And still to this day, I can tell her, I can go out there and say back and not even be anywhere around her. Just holler back. She'll back up, sit there, and I can walk around this house for 10, 15 minutes. She'll never go to that food bowl until I tell her to eat or drink.
Oh my goodness. What a girl.
She's a wonderful dog. I mean, like I said, she must have spoiled me because this one out here.
Yeah. Well, he's just a boy. He's a teenage boy.
Yep. So
and they don't have any sense.
No sense at all.
Teenage boys that have any sense.
No, we don't. They don't. But I guess you're probably needing to get off of here.
I do. I need to head on out 9:25. And
yes, ma'am.
Just about.
But I want to tell you, it was really good having you on. I tell you what, I'm going to end this, and then I'll tell you bye on the other end and let you get out of here.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, for being here. We appreciate you. Everybody that came in, that was very nice to see.
Yes, it was. I really appreciate that, and I really loved having you on. That was very, very nice of you to do. And
it was great.
Anytime you want to come
back. Lineup, man. I saw the people that are coming. Woo, you got a good lineup.
Well, that's what I was going to do. July 3rd we got, which is next week on a Monday, not Tuesday. We're going to do it on Monday because next Tuesday is the 4th. We got Smart Pots Fabric. July 11th we got Old Ways Gardening and Prepping. July 18th, we got Extreme Gardening and Travis Ginger coming back on for a mid-season checkup with the Giants. July 25th, we got Timber Creek Farmer. August 1st, we got Enoch Graham from the Urban Gardener.
Wow.
August 8th, we've got Acorn Creek Farmstead. August 15th, we got Tony from Wakefield Biochar that we're going to have him on talking about that. I use biochar. I really like it. August 22nd, we got Anne Fierro Fanning Homestead. I hope I pronounced that right. Well, she'll be on with us. And then August 29th, we got Jesus Loving Homestead with Nathan and Carmen coming on. September 5th, we got Nicole Smith Gardening. September 12th, we got Chase from Trophy Smack coming on. They're the ones that sponsored the championship belt for our Pumpkin Way Off on YouTube.
Wow.
September 19th, we've got Suburban Homesteader, Wyoming, Arizona coming back on.
She's awesome. Sandy is
I know. Sandy's a great person too. September 26th is open. So if anybody wants that, that's the next available date. Come on and
How
get
cool
it.
is that?
Right. October 3rd, we got Yogi Hollow Farm leases coming on.
Lovely.
October 10th through December 26th is all open. So guys, if you want to get in on this year for 2023, I'm filling up pretty quick.
Yeah.
I want to have you on. I don't care if you got a big YouTube channel, a little YouTube channel, a small Instagram, a big Instagram. I don't care. If you want to come on, I want to have you on because I'm excited that you're excited to start doing stuff, right?
There you go.
Gardening, putting on, YouTube or whatever it is. I want to have you on here. So guys, we really appreciate it. Yeah, come on. And we really appreciate Anne coming on tonight. That was really great. So guys, we're going to get out of here. Appreciate y'all's watching, and we'll see you tomorrow. Messed up. We'll see you next time right here in the hollers and hills of West Virginia, y'all.
Thank you.
See y'all.